Hello and welcome to a very casual new video format idea I had, which was to just answer a bunch of questions you might have about cameras, photography in general, and also just show you some cool things that I just don't have time to show you otherwise. I have even less time than I did a year ago. You might have noticed because I'm making less videos. So I wanted to find a way to still connect and talk because I like talking cameras and photography with you all. So I do have a bunch of questions I sent out on YouTube. I asked you all to ask me questions. About 10 people did. So we're gonna answer as many of those as we can today. I'm also gonna show you my office and a little bit of a tour because it's new and some of the cool cameras and projects I have going on. Not all of them because we still need surprises in our life. If you like this format, watch till the end. Let me know in the comments that you liked it, what you'd like to see different. And then if we continue, just ask a question down there and I will pull from this comment section for the next video. And we'll see if we can get the ball rolling on this. I think it'll be fun. Okay, let's start with a quick studio tour and I'll show you some cool things and probably get distracted. And then we'll come back here and I'll answer your questions. Okay, so a lot of you did notice this is a new office. The other one was very different. It was very white and colorful. I was going with kind of like an upscale garage kind of thing because I like a lot of tinkering. So I got like tools and stuff I'll show you in just a minute. In the end though, it's still coming together and I like it, but it's very dark, which has some like video benefits. I can like turn on certain lights I have in here. I'm still getting my lighting figured out and it isolates other parts because the background's so dark. Yeah, I'm still making it feel me still. Hopefully it's not been too bad for you to witness. Yeah, so this is the area you see. And it's also kind of one of my main working areas. I thought it'd be cool to have some different interests here and I'll show you some different stations. My whole idea was, can I put everything where it would all go together where it actually work on it for different use cases. I really designed and sketched this out over a long period of time for use cases, and you'll see that. Let me grab the camera. This is my vintage lens section was my idea. I modified, these are prints made for like wine bottles, and they hook together. The designer did a great job. I just modified them to be smaller and shorter for my vintage lenses. So the idea is that they'll all go there. I'll probably have to print a couple more layers. I thought I was going to put a shelf there. I can't decide. Anyway, bigger lenses are going to have to be elsewhere because this system doesn't work great for those, but I thought that was kind of cool looking and a neat way for me to see all my lenses all at once. So I'll have some more tools up here that are just general tools for taking apart and modifying or just looking at cameras was the idea of this area. And then because I'm often filming these things for videos, I also have a little light hooked up right there, ready to go at all times. Wow, that's bright. So the light goes there. I can adjust it a little bit, the brightness and everything. And then up here is a camera dedicated to this area. And this is something I learned a long time ago, but the easier you make it to shoot your videos or whatever the like project you're trying to work on is, the more you'll actually do it. And so for me, that's like, just get it set up so it looks good. Don't move it, don't touch it. And that works out really good. Okay, down here, there is an OM Systems EM5. Let me start that over. This is an OM Systems OM5 that I am borrowing, OM5 II, actually Mark II, and lenses that I'm borrowing from OM Systems for no particular video. They just let me borrow it and I said, okay. And it's a fantastic camera. It's a great camera and great lenses. I don't know if I have much more to say about that. I always struggle when talking about new cameras. The whole idea with these shelves and back area is because you'll see it a lot in the back of videos. I want to change out what's on here frequently and to be helpful as well. It will be stuff that I'm currently working on. So right now it's just like hodgepodge recent videos. There's the I'm Back film. I have some more ideas for that. We'll see if I get around to it. The passport cameras, the one I haven't made any sort of content on right now. And then these cameras, which I made a short about recently, very cool. And then down here is like the most random stuff. There's a little Lego guy my son made for me, creation for Father's Day. So this will be cleaned up. The Minolta RD175 used to go here with some stuff I was using for the video that I am filming right now. I'm just taking a break from it. So yeah, this will be stuff in the background you'll see change out hopefully and look better than this. This whole office is a work in progress, but that's where we're at. And then speaking of functional spaces, this area is a 3D printing space. So I have my filament up there, my 3D printer all set up and ready to go and print things. Down here at the base, these drawers And everything down here is just loaded with random stuff. I'm trying to get them more organized right now. One of the Q&A questions that we'll get to is about organization, and I'm not a good person to learn organization from at all. That's not my personality. There's like batteries and chargers. Wow, that's worse than I thought. I should not have shown you that. Here's memory cards and adapters and hard drives, even worse. I should stop opening drawers. Then I just have a lot of digicams. This is kind of my main digicam section. So all these drawers are filled with cool digicams that I'll eventually make video content on if I haven't already. Oh, yeah, those are some good ones. And then, oh, okay. I don't know why that's down there, but these are all lens adapters. So I have a lot of lens adapters. So that lives down there. Definitely not the most organized system, but as long as they're in the right place and I know what drawer they're in, that works enough for my brain. Okay, over here, this was a cool find. You can buy these little felt boards for really inexpensive and then just, you know, like move around photos with thumbtacks. This is a photo book project. I don't know if it'll ever be a public thing or just for me of my time, my 3 years in Iowa, living in a very small town. I loved my time there. Some of these photographs I think actually are excellent, not to toot my own horn, and some of them are not great at all, but they still all kind of tell the story of my time there. So I've been kind of moving them around. That's not all of them. That's just the ones I've printed so far. Yeah, and it's fun. It's like a way of like learning sequencing, which I'm learning about. And then my 3-year-old stuck that panel on the wall there. That's not where that goes. Just a different view. I wanted my main filming desk in the middle of the room so that I have like all around access. I shoot most of my B-roll there and I can just put the camera. My camera normally goes down here on a tripod and I can shoot all different angles. I can move the light around for different angles. And it's just really nice to be able to walk around the table instead of being backed up against a wall or something. And as much as this side of the room is a work in progress, this side is even more so. So this is a new like bookshelf unit I just put together. And the idea here is this will be like my main part of the camera collection. Like here are some Nikon cameras and a Minolta lens for some reason. So anyway, I would organize them here. Somebody asked a question, I guess I'll answer right now, about dust and how you deal with dust and like fungus and mildew. I don't have to really worry about any of that humidity stuff, especially here in Idaho, but even with like a central HVAC system, it does not get a lot of moisture inside my house. But dust is definitely a problem, and I will say I'm just the worst with this. Like my cameras just get dusty. And people comment them on the videos. They're like, your camera is so dusty. Anyway, so then, yeah, that's where these will all go. I just don't have them all ready to go yet. And then down here, some drawers, which is nice for some other things. This cabinet, this is gonna be my printing area. This is just my consumer inkjet printer me and my wife use. I wanna put some more printing stuff in here, but right now it's just full of random camera stuff. Cameras I have yet to make videos on, but really want to, which is the story of my life. But we got some cool projects down here, just boxes and boxes of mostly old vintage digital cameras. And these, since we're here, I guess I can show you a couple. The Kyocera Samurai 1300 DG. Not gonna spoil that one, it's great. The Minolta EX 1500 with both lens modules, and I got the Minolta V1 too, which is kind of cool. I'm still very much in the phase where I just kind of like put things, and then every now and then I'm like, okay, I figured out where the better spot is and I move them. This is coming together, it's a work in progress. And if you're thinking, James, what about some of these other cameras I know that you have? Where are they? Well, they might be in one of the drawers or in that closet, which I won't show you right now. Or I sold them. So before we moved, and that's why I have a new office, we moved. We live in Idaho now. Before we moved, I sold a bunch of stuff, and it'll break your heart if I told you what I sold. It breaks my heart, but you can't have this much stuff. Right now I have too much stuff. I have to go back to selling. I just get excited about projects and buying stuff and making videos. Okay, so that was a quick tour. If I missed anything, which I'm sure I did, that you want to see, let me know, and I'd be happy to show it. Unless it's a surprise. And I still might show it because there's going to be like very few people who watch these videos, and that's cool. Okay, but on to the questions now. I'm pulling these from YouTube right now. First question from Lana Between Worlds. How do you stay passionate about this channel? Which is a great question. If you've ever worked on any sort of project or thing for any amount of time, like there are, you know, ups and downs, hills and troughs, as they say. This applies to everything, but specifically to YouTube, because people ask me questions all the time about YouTube. They're just trying to start their own YouTube channel. Sometimes people approach it from the wrong angle. They're like, I want to start a YouTube channel. Why? So I can make money. Okay, wrong angle. Like personally, I think. Obviously you can do that. But the better play is how I did it, which was like, I'm just making videos because I like them. I would continue always making these videos. They come in different cadences as my life has changed over the last 6 years. But I just make videos because I honestly really like doing this and just sharing. It's my way of contributing back to the community. I used to be really active in forum posts. That's how I would spend my time. And I would make lots of forum posts. And that was a way to contribute. And making videos is another way to contribute. It just happens to then pay you for your time. It doesn't pay you well for your time, but you get something which you can then spend on random junk. Yeah, I can see the flaw in my logic there. But yeah, but that's how I stay passionate about it, is that the topic is actually my passion. And then sharing videos, I don't mind doing. I like making videos, it's fun. And so that's how I keep doing it. Okay, next question is from Miles Kosick 472, who says, as another nerd who loves ancient pro digital cameras. Oh, he was talking about live. Yeah, I might go live one day. I just haven't figured it out. I have a lot of excuses and maybe I'll give them to you sometime. My life's busy. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the Kodak DCS bodies, of course, Minolta bodies, and especially Nikon E2, E3 bodies. We'll go in reverse order for that. The Nikon bodies have been on my radar for a long time. They're just incredibly difficult to find working, I think mostly because of like the battery pack issues. And so then when I do find one working, it's like $2,000, which they aren't exciting enough for me to do that. I have spent that kind of money on old camera stuff, which is kind of embarrassing to say. I just spent not quite that amount of money on a camera that's extremely rare, early digital, full frame. Let's see if you can figure out what it is. It's coming from China right now. The Minolta bodies, so yeah, I just finished shooting the Minolta RD175 video, which I'm super excited about because this camera, like I knew I needed to own and make a video about this camera for years now, and it just finally got around to it, like all the stars aligned. And then of course I did my RD3000 videos, which I think is even quirkier, cooler camera, just is so bizarre using the Vectus lens system, which I just completed all the lenses for this system by obtaining the 400mm reflex lens. I should just go out and shoot this camera and just make an updated video because that other video is like 2 or 3 years old now. And then Kodak DCS bodies, I have one new one coming in the mail, and then I have the 760, which I really like. But yeah, it's cool. Going back to the ancient pro digital cameras, it's just cool to see how pro cameras developed in that early stages before we finally like landed on Nikon and Canon just taking over everything. Okay, AMS Photography asked 2 good questions. Tips and tricks for adapting old lenses and gears to modern mounts. I keep picking up things in the thrift store. Yeah, I've liked a 3D printer just to save money. Those adapters start to add up. They're not that expensive, like 12 bucks for the common ones, for metal common ones. And if you know it's a lens you're gonna use a lot, I would go the metal route. It's just like better quality, obviously taking it on and off all the time. But as far as experimenting, the 3D printer rocks for that because there are some adapters that don't exist at all from a certain camera to a certain lens. And then sometimes you can just do some just wild experiments as well. So I like it for that. Otherwise, yeah, I just like pick out some lenses and give it a try. Those adapters add up, so maybe stick with one mount for a while and search in those thrift boxes for that same mount. Yeah, I love adapting lenses. I think that's a great part of photography. And they also say, any more weird optic experiments, like when you split the image across 2 sensors? I got some thoughts there for how to improve on that. Yeah, and some book recommendations. Cool, yeah. I probably got like 100 comments on that video specifically about how to improve. Some of those were good ideas and some were not. I mean, they were all great suggestions, but some wouldn't work. Yeah, but some were fantastic ideas. So I don't know when I'm gonna try that again. I definitely know it's possible now because I got close with just kind of like trying random things. Yeah, so we'll see if I ever want to like perfect that design or just try something else. And Nick Alezi asked, do you prefer film or digital photography? Well, right now it's digital, and it's not so much that I think it's better than film. I love shooting film photography. That's just where my interest has gone recently. The last few years is digital. I just shot less and less rolls of film. I still shoot like 5 rolls of film a year, and I'll develop them myself just for fun, not because I'm good at it, but just it's fun to do and fun to experiment with. That's the part of film photography I think I like the most. Although if you take it very seriously and get things like professionally developed, or you're very good at developing, man, the results can just be incredible. But I like the experimental side a little bit better. But digital photography for now. Yinbin64 asks a very good question. How long do you think the digicam craze will go on for? And do you think there'll be an influx of those cameras when it goes out? Yeah, I don't think it can last forever, obviously, especially like the Canon G7X or whatever that's going like way over MSRP because of all the craze. It's got to die out at some point. But the thing that I think will continue and is part of what's happening is these younger generations, I say as I'm not that old myself, I grew up without touchscreens. And I think other generations that are now growing up with touchscreens, everything's touchscreen and just the way it works and everything is just so different to how things used to work. Like I keep saying like the tactile experience and people make fun of me because like, what do you mean? It's like, well, literally it has buttons all over it and this doesn't. And this is what people spend their time using. I think that stuff will carry over even if the digicam craze itself dies. Like I think all the plastic kind of clones that are tapping into the market are going to die eventually. That can't go on forever. That's how you know when a trend is uncool is when the companies catch up to it. And just like the recent releases like the, what was the Instax Evo hybrid film camera, the Fujifilm X-Half, like just missed the mark in so many ways. I feel like companies are like trying and it's like, no, that's not what we meant. And I showed you a little bit of it, but I literally have a drawer full of digicams and like multiple drawers full of amazing digicams. And I stopped making videos on all of them because every time I try and I get excited about it, I'm like, this will just raise the prices of this camera. And then like, what's the point? DSLRs and these other old cameras are a little bit immune to that because they're very specially cased, like this would be the RD175. But then like an average DSLR, like the D200 price hasn't gone up, the Nikon D200, and it's a fantastic 10 megapixel CCD DSLR. That's an area where I think we might grow into, or at least I would encourage people to. It's just so fun. Using lenses, the optical viewfinders I think are cool. So anyway, that was a long answer for that, but yeah, it's gonna die eventually, I'm sure. And then Jake Hampton 2016 was talking about my Vectus lenses. I posted a picture of that when I asked for questions and I showed you my RD3000, just completed the lens collection, and asked, do you have a method for DIYing your own APS film? That's a really cool idea. I've never shot APS film and I have no intention to. I just like it because of the digital camera. Because it's the only digital camera to use this mount, I think that's kind of weird. But if you shoot APS film, and especially if you DIY cutting down 35mm or something, that's like the wackiest idea I've ever heard. So definitely share it. That sounds cool. I'd love to learn more. Okay, Ultra Hobo asks a great question. I always want to ask you this. Buying so many old digital cameras, do they die on your hands? If so, how often does it happen? And does it scare you that they'll all die someday? I think it is very wise not to buy old digital cameras for hundreds of dollars. Or like this camera I spent almost $2,000 on that's coming from China right now is a terrible idea. The only reason I do it is because I love telling the story, and some of these cameras don't have great videos out. Some of them don't ever. The one I ordered from China has basically nothing. So for me, it's an investment that way. And then also the big like elephant in the room is that YouTube channels can make money. Now, if I buy a $2,000 camera and make a video, the chances it makes that $2,000 back is extremely slim. Unless I have a sponsorship, which I slowed down, I should say, doing. We'll see where that goes. That's intentional as well. But anyway, yeah, so I do worry about it. I have had just like the longest run of luck. Cameras do not die on me for whatever reason. Like they should die on me, but they don't. I have friends, if you're watching this on the Discord channel, where their cameras always break. So I have an incredible amount of luck, and then I'm buffered by the fact that this channel makes money. So even if the camera died, like I would probably still lose money, but it wouldn't be nearly as much as if I just was buying it myself and wasn't making money back this way. Obviously you're losing money either way because I could use that money for other things, but that buffer helps me, if that makes sense. And I try to say that in videos sometimes and make it clear that like you shouldn't do what I do with all of my choices. Obviously some of the cameras I actually think are good financial decisions, but like especially recently I've been doing like a lot of vintage digital stuff, and most of the time that does not make sense for the reasons you just said. Death Door asked, if a thief entered my office, how rich could he become? Yeah, we're not going to disclose that. So I do have insurance, but also I definitely need to sell more stuff. And I sold a lot. Like I said, when we went from Iowa, I sold all my 4/3 stuff. I love those cameras and lenses. That was a lot of money in lenses for that system. The Mamiya ZD medium format DSLR is a beautiful DSLR, and I sold that as well. Epson RD1. So I sold some high value stuff, you know, to make room, but then also because of things like this. Like what happens is this office just goes up in flames. Like that's not very fun at all. Okay, that's all the questions for this time. Like I said, if you want this format to continue, please let me know. Give me some encouraging words. If you'd like it to change and be better somehow, let me know that too. And then put your questions down below that you would want me to answer. I don't know if I'll be able to get to all of them all the time, but I'll get to some of them. And hopefully we get some juicy ones as well. And then I'll throw in some other thoughts about, you know, the latest camera news and stuff, things that I personally care about and I think you might care about as well. So you can get my takes on those things. Thanks for watching. And as always, happy snapping.